Because I'm the person that like to apply what you already researched. Because I ain't got the patience to research it. But you research it, and then I'm gonna apply it.
Great day to everyone. Welcome to another episode of Love Speaks. I am Francois, along with my beautiful host,
Lakeisha, and so glad to be back in season 2 and excited for you to join us.
Absolutely. This is season 2 of Love Speaks, and we're so excited to have you guys riding with us all through season 1. But guess what? In season 2, we're doing something a little different. This is our first recording with a live audience. Audience, make some noise! We have a live audience on Love Speaks season 2! And we're so happy to be here. I am grateful for this journey that God has allowed us to be a part of Love Speaks, being able to talk to you about what love is, whether it is spiritually, culturally, or currently. And so I'm just grateful to be on this journey with you.
Glad to be here with you, season after season after season after season, and we have just only begun.
Only just begun.
Yes.
So
he got to always sing a tune. I can't do that.
So we're so super excited about this. I am like a 4th or 5th or more generational preacher. And my wife and I both are mental health advocates. We're both mental health advocates. I'm ready to embark upon my master's in mental health, but you, what about you? What are you doing with mental health?
I am at the end of my internship, and so I am completing the program and anticipate having my own practice very soon. And so I truly believe that it's a needed platform for the body of Christ. I think we overlook, we pray out and cast out, wanting to call everything a spirit or demonic or evil spirit, but everything stems from something. And so many have faced so many bad childhood experiences that have been undealt with. And so it's so good that we have the opportunity to continue to not only to be a voice in our community, but in our church as well, because it needs to be addressed. Yes, so you said all of that to say I'm at the end of my program, and I'm so excited that June 24th I am done. So yay! And I'm excited for it.
And I am so godly proud of you in your educational endeavors and accomplishment, and I thank God for you. At one point in my life, I needed to seek counsel. I needed to seek counsel. I knew where I was not a good place or a healthy place, and I needed to seek counsel. And that's one of the reasons why I plan on pursuing my master's degree in mental health, because when I sought counsel, I was looking for myself. I have nothing against anybody, anywhere. I love all God's children. But I wanted a black male with Christian values. So I felt like we had more to relate. And I said, if I was looking for that, maybe somebody else is looking for me. And so that's one of the reasons that I wanted to pursue that. So we're strong mental health. We believe that God wants us whole and healthy. He wants us whole and healthy. And so Love Speaks is a platform we deal with everything with passion. But it seems like our passion seems to always surround about mental health. So I don't know if we're going to go on a new spin after a while. I don't know.
I don't think so. It's the center and core of everything.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But we are here on today with, I think somebody said peacock proud, and I don't know the other saying, to be with one of my favorite individuals. My children know, my wife know, if I have a favorite in artistry, they know who it is. And I'm so excited to have here on Love Speaks none other than the international recording artist, Miss Lisa McClendon.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for agreeing to be a part of Love Speaks.
Yes.
You've been my favorite for a very long time. I think I first discovered your music on Wow Gospel.
Oh, woo. I haven't heard that in a long time.
Exactly.
Let's go way back.
Way back in
God. Yikes.
And
Yes.
I'm trying to remember, I think it was Soul Music on Wow Gospel, one of those. And I
think it
was
was Soul
like,
Music.
this is the bomb. I have to find the CD.
Ooh. Tell her your age.
And I purchased Soul Music as my first Lisa McClendon project. And then I went digging for everything Lisa. Everything Lisa. I'm just so honored to have you on the
Thank
set
you.
of Let's Speak.
Thank you.
So I know who you are, and I follow you on social media and in your music. But who is Lisa McClendon?
That is always a tough question. I get what you're saying, but the best way I can answer it. So in addition to being an artist, mother, one of my proudest accomplishments is being a mom. Also currently working in arts and health, using the arts to help kids learn what self-awareness is, self-expression and self-regulation, and taking the arts in all different forms and teaching kids how to use art to help them regulate their emotions. In this season of my life, that's probably one of the proudest positions in life for me, because as a kid I didn't have that. And being labeled and being treated a certain way because the adults just didn't know. I think in this season who I am is a person that loves to give back, to pay it forward. Yeah. So in this season I am a pay it forwarder. That's what I said. So a pay it forwarder, and I'm proud of, and a woman who has done her work.
Yeah.
Let me go back to that.
Yeah.
I am a woman who has done her work. You know, when I came out of my second marriage and was going through that just heavy divorce, I remember sitting on my bed and I said, like, God, why did you let this happen to me? I think I said it all the time to God. Why you let this happen to me? And I just remember it came to me like, you were already doing what he did to you, just in another way. He had abandoned you, but you had already abandoned you. Wow. And I had to, for the last several years, I have been learning how to walk back to me, get back to me, be responsible for me, take care of me, hear me clearly, hear what I'm saying, put me first, human, not me compared to God, but in a human, put me first, because I had to learn that I can't give anyone something I don't have first for myself. And I didn't know that before. And so this has been a journey of just learning how to do it differently so that I could be who God has made me to be. And now I can give to people not from a place of exhaustion. I'm giving to you from a place of abundance. Because, honey, I've been sitting on the couch resting. Listen, I got time. I got time to give you love because I haven't burnt myself out. And so, again, it has definitely been a journey. The journey started out lonely because it was new. I didn't know how to be by myself. It was quiet. It felt cold and isolated. And then over time, I learned how to enjoy my own party. Like listen, I can have a solo party. I don't need nobody there. Like I'm good over here, you know. But it wasn't always that way. So I did my work. And so in this season, it's just helping people do their work because it's hard and it's uncomfortable, but we learn in frustration. We learn in discomfort. We grow in discomfort. And so I'm just proud of the woman that I am today.
Wow, we're jumping right in, and I'm
Listen.
loving all of it.
That's so good. But I do want to add, as we go into this, that I became a favorite of yours as well. Because when I say he was a favorite, he was a favorite. I did want to make sure I say that.
Thank you.
That what he said was absolutely the truth.
Is.
Because we were dating. He is a favorite.
You didn't have a choice.
Let me tell you.
You didn't have a choice.
Every time he came and pulled up in the car, that's what CD was on heavy rotation. You know, it never was ejected. It was heavy rotation. And so I learned and loved the music as well. So
Thank you.
so
Thank you
much.
so much. I appreciate it.
I just wanted to make sure I
Thank
had
you.
that in
No,
there.
thank you. I
And that was
appreciate
all
that.
facts and that was all truth.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate
And
it.
so thank you so much again, as he said, for being here with us. Thank you for sharing your music and your story today as you begin to express knowing who you are, loving yourself. And I know that's always a journey that we go through, individually, but something you stated, doing your work. What was that process like? What was
Honey,
that
y'all ready?
process like?
That process was, what the first thing that I had to do was be quiet. Y'all heard my mama say I'm a talker.
Yes.
Yes, I had to learn to be quiet so that I could hear and so that I can trust the voice of God through me.
Yeah.
Because one of the reasons why I did end up in that second marriage that should have never been is because I allowed other people to tell me that was the man for me. When God had already said clearly in my spirit, run and don't look back. Run, don't look back. Run, don't look back. Listen, we're going to have a lot of those today. We're going to have a lot of those today because I'm a jukebox, okay? That part. And so being quiet, it helped regulate my nervous system. Being quiet helped me to pay attention. And what's interesting is the more I was quiet, the more I could pay attention, the more I could see certain people around me that didn't need to be around me. And then the more I watched and the more I healed and the more I grew, people couldn't take my healing because they could only deal with me broken.
Yes.
And it was uncomfortable for me to be around them healed or healing.
Yeah.
And people started acting new. They started acting different. And I had time today.
Yeah.
Because in quietness, I got a boldness.
Yes.
I got a boldness to I found my voice.
Yeah.
And I was able to, in love, say, no, you don't get to do that to me. Because I don't get to do that to me.
That's right.
And that's another thing I learned in quiet, how to treat myself. Because I didn't. I remember I had a coach. Before I started therapy, I had a coach. And she said, we're going to start here. I want you to start taking yourself on a date every Wednesday. And I'm like, what is this that you're saying? What is that? What does that even mean? You want me to go into a restaurant by myself, alone?
Yeah.
And I was terrified. Like literally, I remember I had my journal. She instructed me to take a journal. I had my pen. And I see the restaurant, but I can't think of the name of it. But I walked in, and I just felt weird. I felt odd. It felt uncomfortable. I saw people with their significant others or friends, and I felt like I was alone. And over time, I learned to not feel alone, but I was with myself. Like I just, and then I got too good at it, y'all. And one day I told God, I said, now look, I don't need to get too good at this because I want to be married again one day. So this singleness and this being by myself is getting too good. Like I know how to do this well, but yeah, I just learned how to be alone and by myself. And it became good for me to be alone and by myself so that I knew how to be with others. And it was important for me because I had become codependent. And I didn't even know it. Now, I learned that in therapy. Yeah. And the first thing they said, you ever heard of a narcissist? And I was like, I heard of it, but I didn't really know. And so my therapist had me go study it. And I was like, oh, that's him. Like everything I was like, oh my God, that's him. But then I kept reading and it was like, yeah, but do you know who who narcissists are attracted to?
Exactly.
And I was like, oh, so you mean I attracted this foolishness? Like, my God, today. So I was sharing with y'all earlier when I was sitting on the bed. I said, God, why did you do this to me? So that showed. So at that point, I realized you got to stop pointing at him. He has to do his own work. Okay, cool. Yeah, he is what he is. But what do you need to do? Because you attracted that. You allowed that into your space. You know what I mean? And so in that season, I had to work on not being codependent, which meant, again, learning to working my way back to myself, trusting my voice, trusting when people say something opposed to what I'm saying. That doesn't mean that they're right, and it doesn't mean that I'm wrong. Because I would be set bent on something, and as soon as someone said something different, I would be like, well, maybe, listen, not today. If and not to say that I'm always right, but I ain't always wrong. You know what I mean? So just being in this place is just helped me grow so much. So I hope I answered your question. I think I kind of went on a tangent.
That's real good. And one of the things that I also believe that does not just help single people, but it also helps married people, because I think it is so important for you as an individual to never lose the value that you possess. And as much as I love my wife, I love you, baby.
I love y'all.
I had to do that. I would take myself to the movies. I would take myself out to eat because I respect our differences. So I can't allow our differences to bring a wedge in us or to divide who I am. So you might not like the restaurant, but I do. So do I ignore what I desire? And it's not like it's sinful and evil and going to break us apart. But if you don't want the Chinese, I'm going to go, yes, let me have a number 2 fried rice.
Crab rangoon.
Exactly. And then come home and enjoy it. That's why you didn't bring me none, because I know you don't eat from the people. So, and I think that is so important. And it's something else that you said that was so good to me. I don't believe you let him off the hook, but you still took responsibility for your part. Doesn't mean he was free to go, but you took responsibility for your part. Now, you have to, real soon, Lisa is about to release a documentary, a very good documentary. The other side of the spotlight.
The other side of the spotlight.
You must watch it on whatever platform it is so you can understand the full scope of the story. Woo, this is scary. Why? Because I'm a pastor and she a pastor wife, and you were married to a pastor.
I was.
And I come to discover I grew up very similar to you. Old school church, storefront church. Holiness is right. The devil is defeated, and the devil is always a liar. And we had church almost every night of the week. And if you ever had a problem, the answer was pray about it.
Tyrion.
Exactly. Get on the altar. Exactly. And that was always the answer.
That was it.
And for some reason, growing up, that never made a lot of sense to me. And for me, stuff have to make sense. And one of the things I teach our church is that the prayers of the righteous, according to Scripture, availeth much, but much isn't all. So when you're done praying, something must be done.
Yeah, that's your word. Faith without works.
That's right.
You need your work. You still have to do the work.
Yes.
And hear what I'm saying.
Yes.
If I'm saying it wrong, Pastor, y'all correct me. But hear what I'm saying.
Yes.
One of the things that I think the church as a community is guilty of, just because we don't know, we're coming to know better, is I want to make sure y'all hear what I'm saying, because there's a right way to do this and there's a wrong way.
That's right.
Okay, just say it. That we tend to be codependent on God for the purpose of not being responsible for our own behavior.
Yes.
So we'll pass
that
the
again.
well, I'm just waiting on God so we don't have to be responsible.
Yes. Yes.
You know, so it's like it's safe to just hide behind. Well, I'm dependent. No, you're not dependent on God. You're
Exactly.
codependent because you don't want the responsibility to do your work. Faith is God is the faith,
That's
but
right.
you have to do the work.
Work.
And it's time for us to start doing the work,
Yes.
so the world can see the church whole and healed.
Yes.
But we gotta do the work.
Yes.
Prayer is the faith, but we have to get up and go do some work.
That's right. Love Tabernacle of God is Love Tabernacle of God Praise and Worship Christian Center, where we do what? Love you into wholeness.
That's work.
Wholeness.
Love is action.
It's action.
And it's wholeness. It's dealing with the broken parts of you.
Yeah.
And as you said, doing your own work. That's something I also discovered, and I think a lot of people use God as a crutch to
That's
keep
right.
themselves disabled. You
That's
know,
perfectly
instead
said.
of doing the work, making themselves whole, they use God as the crutch. God ain't did it yet. It ain't gonna get done. No, God said He gave you the power.
Give you the power.
So you have to
Greater
access
works.
the power within yourself
Yes.
to see the change. And if you don't do the work,
Yes.
then you'll never see the change.
Yes.
I tell them often, Christ came down. He walked through this earth.
He
He
did
did
work.
his part. And He left you the power to bring about the change in every area of your life. And so I think what it is, a lot of the areas in our life, it's hard to confront. We don't want to deal with it. We don't want to talk about it. So we bury it. We bury it. But like anything that has been injured or anything that has been impacted, if you touch it hard enough, you'll feel the pain. It might have healed, but the pain's still there. So that's why it's not good to cover up, but to deal with and to address. It's
That's
very
good.
important that we address issues. And this is why I love the documentary. I absolutely love it. First of all, I am a documentary. I veg all day. I go in
I'm gonna
Netflix.
binge it. I'm gonna binge it.
I get in the bed, and that is I'm gonna watch everybody. I just go straight to the documentary section, and oftentimes he come in the room because I'm either watching documentaries, homicides. I watch it all, whatever it is, and he
Law
look at
and
me and
Order.
say, "You're not trying to do nothing to me, are you?"
I'm like, just
wait
let
a
me
minute.
know. My
Wait a
feelings will
minute,
be
just-
hurt,
just
but
let
I'll
me
be
know.
going.
I'll
Just
go.
let me know.
I'll go because I'll sit and I veg. I won't watch anything else, but I'll sit and I watch documentaries. And so just hearing the powerful testimonies and the stories that you conveyed in that documentary was phenomenal.
Thank you.
It was phenomenal. And
Thank
one
you.
thing that I see at the end, as you declared at the other side, you said freedom.
Yes.
Freedom. You can only be free as if you did your work. That's the only way you get free, because if you don't loose the shackles, if you don't separate from the bondage, then you'll keep going back to it.
Exactly. But it's going back to knowing who you are. Because one thing that in the church we've always stated, don't be unequally yoked. And we've always taken that to mean, I go to church, you go to church, I'm saved, you saved, then we're equally yoked. And the reality is there is some disconnection there. And sometimes we have to look beyond that. In the early stages of your second marriage, did you see the disconnect?
Oh, I saw it before the marriage even started. I saw certain things, but again, I didn't trust myself. So what I started doing, okay, ladies, y'all listening? Yeah. So then I started calling people to validate it. So I was like, hey, what do you think about so and so and so? And then they would say something contrary to what I felt. And I'm like, okay, but they say he good. Then I called a guy friend of mine. Somebody, watch this. Oh, okay, God, thank you. Okay. Do y'all remember the story in the Bible about the old prophet and the young prophet? Yes. Remember God told the young prophet, go and don't you stop. I don't care who tell you what, you better keep going, don't you stop. Remember that? And he was going and the old prophet stopped him and said, come on, come in here and rest and eat. Yes. And he was like, well, God told me, he said, but nah, like, trust me, I'm the OG. I'm the OG. I got you. Come on in here. And then what happened?
You should obey God.
You should obey
when you
God.
leave here, you finna die.
And he died. He died. And so sometimes we trust people because of their position in our lives, their position in society. And I don't care position in my life or society. That does not mean that my voice is less or has less value. I know how to hear God's voice for my life. You know what I'm saying? Even if you're prophesying to me, it should bear witness. Like if you're saying something, I should be like, oh, that it should quicken. But sometimes we just take what people say to us, and I had to learn that I can trust the voice of God in my life.
It's funny. I just had this conversation earlier where I told somebody when I first started dating my wife, it was a secret, basically. I was dating her. I didn't want nobody to know I was dating. And the main reason because of that was I wanted to make sure I liked her for me. And not other people say, oh, she good. You better go ahead and grab her before you miss out. Oh, that's a good. It was like, because at that point, I didn't care what your opinion was. I needed to make sure that she was what I wanted. And preferably on the other side, I was what she wanted. So by the time the other people started adding their 2 cents, it don't even matter what you say. Because I already know what I want.
But see, that's the broken person in us, or the broken individual who seeks validation and comfort. We oftentimes, when you are broken, you seek validation because you don't trust yourself to make the decisions for yourself. And you're constantly questioning yourself. And that's why it's so important that we heal. Deal with the childhood trauma, deal with all of that, because those are the things that are driving our life, but yet the same things that are affecting our life and affecting us, not for the good, but for the bad, because we're making decisions out of that pain instead of making decisions out of purpose. There is a difference. My pain can continue to be driving factors for me, even as an adult, because of something that I experienced as a child, because we don't want to talk about it. In most cases, we're African Americans, the majority of us are here, and we come from that culture. We come from that background. What happens in our house stays in our house. So we have the ability to keep our mouth closed. We don't talk about it. We don't speak about it. Don't share it with nobody. But those are the things that you're keeping silent within yourself that is causing you to die inwardly, not being whole. I believe God don't make mistakes. He wants us to be whole, body, mind, soul, and spirit. And so we will negate our minds and think that, okay, it's okay for me to dwell in this place and just constantly find ourselves in that place of anger and that place of frustration and anxiety and doubt and not deal with it, knowing, like part of that documentary that was so wonderfully stated, the warning signs, that light, that notification. There is something always notifying us that there's something wrong. And if we're going to not take the time to deal with it within our inner selves. And that's why I'm an advocate for therapy. I am a true advocate. And many people, you ain't got to talk to nobody. It'll work itself out. No, I don't care how small the problem is, how big it is. Talk to somebody about it, because there's someone who has some kind of expertise, and not your girlfriend, not your BFF. Because they your BFF, because sometimes y'all think alike, and that's why y'all are the same and you can hang out together. But you find somebody that does not think like you to challenge you, and that's how we do our work to become better versions of ourselves.
Yes, for sure.
A better version.
For sure.
And for you, it started with going back to school. Am I right?
Yes, I went to school for psychology, and I was like, oh, wait a minute, I should have been here. It just stuff made sense. And I want to say this because my daughter is here. I love her so much, Diamond, my baby girl. And she can attest to this. There was a season in our lives that it was so disconnected. Would you agree? I'm going to cry. We were so disconnected because I was so cold. I didn't realize it, but I was so cold because I was still so much pain and just everything that I had been through. There was a part of me that was just numb. And so I did not know how to connect with her. And I didn't know how to connect with my mom. Like, my mom and I probably just became close within the last several years after doing my work and seeing my mom with a different lens. And then she went back to school and got her master's in psychology, so her eyes were open. And so, y'all, we a whole mess. Listen, because I'm like a neuroscience. I'm the neuroscience side. Like I would literally lay in my bed like it's the Bible and read studies Because I'm the person that like to apply what you already researched, because I ain't got the patience to research it. But you research it, and then I'm gonna apply it. And because I work with kids, I want to know that science has backed that it works. And for the record, science proves that God is. So back here, we're back, and we're back. And but my daughter and I, it was just, I didn't have the tools to love her well. And now that young woman right there, listen, that's and I feel it. And I feel when she hugs me, there's not a block. Yeah. When she used to hug me or try to hug me, I felt it was trauma. It was trauma. And it's like now we don't go a day without hugging. Like, she's healed. When mama healed, she healed. Wow. She started opening up and sharing, and when I come home, the first thing we do is hug. How was your day? How was your day? And it's love, and it's genuine. And I'm grateful that going back to school, education, and God gave that back to me, gave that to me for my baby. And now we can heal the next generation, because I decided to start it and then reach back for my mama and reach forward for my daughter. So, yeah.
I love your journey. I love your journey of strength. I love your journey of, you're very artistic, from your fashion and the art of your voice and how you write. And I love your form of strength. I love what you're doing, even with the children you work with.
Thank you. Yes. Yes.
So tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, so the name of my nonprofit is called Yeye's Village Expressive Arts Community. Yeye means mother or nurturer in one of the African languages. And I've created this space particularly focusing on anxiety. A lot of the students that I meet, they can't test, they can't stay in class, they have nervous breakdowns, and just studying the effects of art on the brain, being able to take it in a nonprofit organization in that way. And we use dance, drama, drums, visual arts, all the different art modalities. I have arts in residence that come in and they teach the kids different arts. They go through somewhere between 9 and 12 weeks. They learn the arts, and we teach them about resilience and their brains, and how we teach them the importance of sleep for wellness and all those things. And at the end of the sessions, the 9 or 12 weeks, they get either tablets. Sometimes they earn a tablet or different incentives. But we just want to reach back and teach kids how to take ownership of their own mental health, of their own wellness. Because oftentimes we find kids are kicked out of class because they can't regulate their emotions. But they can't regulate their emotions because they can't properly express their emotions. Yeah. And they can't express their emotions because they don't even know how they feel. Yeah. So we just try to take simple things in science and use the arts to kind of hide it, if you will, to teach kids skills. So as they get older, they can continue to work that muscle, so that they don't become adults. Exactly. With no emotional intelligence. Yeah. Because I was the adult with no emotional intelligence. Cause I didn't know. Nobody taught me. Yeah. You know, nobody taught me nobody gave me the tools to how to regulate my emotions. So it's just a joy to know that these kids have a chance to not lose their dreams because they didn't know how to manage it, because they didn't know how to manage themselves, you know? Yeah.
Man, this is awesome. We got to have you back to do another
psychology part of it. Let me
Exactly.
tell you, just phenomenal, because as you said, in regard regulating the emotions and being emotionally intelligent. And I often say this when I talk to adults. I say, are you emotionally mature? Because if not, then that's why we see adults throwing tantrums like children, because they're not emotionally mature.
Yes,
there is
exactly.
no emotional intelligence.
Right.
And so before we came on to this actual live episode of Love Speaks, we had an opportunity to watch the wonderful documentary.
Yay.
And as I sat there and heard everything that was shared, the question just sat in my mind: what was your inspiration behind the documentary?
So just quick story, this documentary was an accident on my side, but it was all planned by God on God's side. Wow. So when COVID was happening, I was called because my nonprofit had been going, people had been watching my work with kids, and a school called for me to do a presentation for some middle school, high school students. And I remember thinking, virtually? You want me to try to keep attention of kids virtually? Good luck, right? And so I knew better. I knew that just wasn't going to be possible. So I'm very creative. Like I'm always trying to figure out how to do stuff. And I was like, you know what? Kids like to watch TV. They like to watch games. Let's make this a documentary. So I did an amateur documentary, which we will release later on, because I want people to see what it was before it was what it is. Yes. Which I kind of like the first one. You know, it's like reading the book and then watching the movie, because there's some things in the book that you don't. So there's things that I share in the first one. But anyway, so I did the documentary. It was a huge success. They called and was like, oh my God, the kids literally paid attention. Like they loved it. They're still talking about it. My mom reaches out to me because she had saw it. And she said, hey, whatever happened to that documentary that you put together there? That was so creative. And I was like, that was for kids. She was like, girl, you need to post that. So I posted it. And by the end of the day, I had all of these investors in my DM. And they were like, what are you doing with this documentary? And I'm like, it was for kids. What are y'all talking about? What are y'all talking about? And so fast forward, one of the investors, she beat out everybody, put the money behind it. We made it an official documentary. And then it just started morphing into this mental health advocacy component. Like, I'm like, okay, this is bigger than what the first one was. This is a movement. This is a movement. And so we just started recording and got the directors and the camera and post-production, and I learned a lot about production and post-production and pre-production, and now we're where we're at now.
And I guess just one more thing, and then I'm just enjoying, if I have Lisa in my presence, I want Lisa to stay. One thing that really resonated with me, and I think you use it for the children, but I think it works for everybody, the statement of do it scared. Elaborate just a little bit on it.
So before I became Lisa McClendon, the artist that everyone knows, I was a worship leader, one of the worship leaders at our church in Jacksonville. And the main worship leader, Tim, didn't show up this Wednesday night. And I was like, wait, Tim, where's Tim? So I run to our minister of music, Shirley. And I said, Shirley, Tim's not here. And she said, Ann? I said, well, what are we going to do? She said, grab the mic, you're leading. I said, what you mean? I'm leading. And I said, I can't lead, I'm scared. She said, do it scared, grab the mic, let's go. Yes. That was the birth of Lisa McClendon, the artist. Wow. Because I was terrified. Wow. And I had that microphone, and I was slow, and I kept looking back at her, and she said, and she yelled, she said, grab the mic, let's go. She was Maddie Moss Clark. She was Maddie Moss, yes, she was. And I was I was literally singing like this, and I would hear her screaming from the organ, sing, Lisa! and I kept singing, and I kept singing scared until I wasn't scared anymore. Yeah. And it's just that your body has to know that you're safe. Fear comes because your body thinks you're not safe, but you know you safe. Exactly. You ain't gonna, you know what I'm saying? So I just kept singing. And then my body realized that, oh, this is what we called to do. This is what okay. And I just kept singing and I just kept singing. And now I can sing in front of it doesn't even move me. It's funny when I think about who I used to be. I'm like, I cannot believe I used to have such horrible stage fright. Yeah. I have no stage fright at all. So I tell that story to my students before their showcase, because at the end of their 9-12 weeks, they have to do a performance for the community. And one of the girls said, well, Miss Lisa, why we got to do this? I said, because one day, and this is for adults too, one day, what you want to do is going to be here, and what you are afraid to do is going to be here, and you're going to be here. And you're not going to be able to get to what you want until you get through what you think you can't do. And I said, you may never sing again, you may never act again, you may never dance again, but when you face life and something that you really want to do, you're going to remember this moment, and you're going to remember that Miss Lisa told you to grab the mic and do it scared.
Wow, this is phenomenal. So, and I think that's a good takeaway from our time today, that no matter what, do it scared. If it's facing your trauma, face it scared. If it's facing your childhood, face it scared. If it's facing your illness, whatever you do, go forward and face it scared. Do it scared. All right, Love Speaks on all of your channels. Like, share, subscribe. Thank you. I'm Francois. This is Lakeisha. Thank you for this episode of Love Speaks. Love Speaks is what love is. Love is culturally, love is spiritually, love is connective, and love is current. And so we're so grateful to have you here. So do us a favor, like, share, subscribe on whatever platform that you have, and hit the notification button so every time that we come on, you know, hey, we are here. Every week we're releasing a new episode of great information, and we want you to be a part of it. We do all this with you in mind.